Alia's hands trembled as she checked her mother's heartbeat monitor for the 5th time in a single minute. The night shift was always exhausting, but tonight felt heavier, like life itself was pressing its palm against her chest. Bills stacked like mountains in her bag, reminders of a world that didn't care how hard she worked. Her mother was all she had left, and she was slipping away without expensive treatment. Alia exhaled and pressed a comforting kiss to her mother's forehead before responding to the sudden chaos echoing through the emergency ward. The doors burst open. Men in black suits rushed inside like a storm, and in the middle of them, on a stretcher, was a man dressed in a perfectly tailored suit, stained with blood. His beauty was shocking even in pain. Razor-sharp jawline, thick lashes, and lips parted with labored breathing. "Clear the one of the guards demanded. Doctors and nurses scrambled as the billionaire, Zion Malik, was rushed into surgery. His name rippled through the staff like electricity. The Zion Malik Enterprises, the youngest billionaire in the country. What happened to him? Whispers floated, but Alia was too busy saving his life to indulge them. She cleaned wounds, gave injections, and helped stabilize him. His pulse was faint but persistent, as if he was fighting more than just physical pain. Hours passed. When the surgery ended, Alia was assigned to monitor him in the VIP recovery wing, a golden cage separated from the world. Guards outside, silence inside. Alia sat beside him, letting exhaustion pull her deeper into her chair. She studied the patient. Even unconscious, he looked powerful, but broken, like someone who'd had everything yet lost something that couldn't be bought. Suddenly, he stirred. His eyes opened. Dark, intense, full of fear. He looked around wildly before locking onto Alia like she was the only lifeline he had left. "You, who are you?" he whispered, voice gravelly. "Alia, I'm your nurse. You're safe." He blinked rapidly, breathing quickening. "They'll take me, if they think I have no one. They'll use me." Alia frowned, confused. "Who? What do you mean?" He grabbed her wrist, grip surprisingly strong. His words were desperate, almost a plea. "Say I'm your husband, please." She froze, heart racing. Husband? What kind of madness was this? Sir, I can't." Before she could finish, the door slammed open. More men in dark suits stormed in, checking documents, speaking urgently into earpieces. One pointed at Alia. "Who are you to him?" Zion squeezed harder, his eyes begging her to lie. And something in his gaze, raw, vulnerable, made her make a choice that would rewrite her entire fate. "I'm his wife," she said. The guards halted. Their expressions shifted, from suspicion to instant respect. "We weren't informed of Mr. Malik's marriage," one muttered. "That's because it was private," Zion replied weakly, but his authority was unmistakable. Alia kept her head high, though fear coiled in her stomach like a burning knot. The team apologized and stepped back, offering her space instead of threats. The moment the door closed again, Alia pulled her hand away, furious whisper escaping her lips. "Why would you do that? I helped you because it's my job, not to pretend." "I'll explain," he rasped, eyes fluttering from exhaustion. "Just stay, please." His voice dissolved as he slipped back into unconsciousness, leaving Alia alone with the weight of a lie that now had teeth. Morning sunlight filtered through the glass walls when Zion regained strength. His tone had cooled into that of a man used to absolute control. "I owe you a debt. But now that you've stepped in as my wife, you must continue. At least for a month." Alia stared, stunned. "Absolutely not. I said that to help you in the moment. I have a life, a mother who needs me. And I'm already drowning in problems." Zion leaned forward, eyes sharp with determination and something deeper, fear. "I know everything about you, Alia. Your mother's condition, your debts, the cruel world crushing you." His voice softened, unexpectedly. "Let me help you. Let me help her. In return, you help me." She hated that he knew her weaknesses. Hated that he was offering exactly what she needed. "Just pretend," he said. "1 month, and I will make sure your mother survives. Your life will change forever." Silence stretched. Alia's heart pounded at a dangerous rhythm. A deal with a billionaire devil, or a lifeline she could never afford to reject. Her voice trembled as she gave her answer, an answer that sealed her destiny. "I'll do it." Alia stood frozen at the entrance of the Malik mansion, the overwhelming size of the palace swallowing her confidence whole. Marble floors gleamed like mirrors beneath her trembling shoes. Tall crystal chandeliers hung like galaxies carved from diamonds. Guards lined the hallway, standing stiff and alert, their eyes cold and questioning. "This way," Zion's personal assistant instructed politely, though the skepticism in his eyes was clear. No one believed she was the billionaire's secret wife. Alia walked beside Zion, who moved with a regal grace despite still recovering. He didn't hold her hand. Didn't look at her. Didn't acknowledge her fear. She was just another business deal to him. As they reached the grand staircase, a sharp voice echoed through the hall. "So it's true." A woman stepped forward, beautiful, poised, dripping in designer elegance. Her gaze cut like a blade. Zion Malik got married, and didn't even invite his own cousin. This must be Hania, the one everyone whispered about. The one who planned to take over Malik Enterprises if Zion ever slipped. Zion's expression shifted into a warning glare. "Not now, Hania." "Oh, I'm just saying," she smirked. "The world will have a lot of questions. Especially about her," she added, eyes rolling over Alia like she was dirt on expensive shoes. Alia's breath caught. She wanted to speak, defend herself, but Zion spoke instead, firm and authoritative. "Alia is my wife. That is all anyone needs to know." He walked away, leaving a trail of silence and suspicion behind him. Alia followed, but her knees felt weak. She wasn't prepared for the battlefield this mansion clearly was. Hours later, Alia found herself in the largest bedroom she'd ever seen. Golden wallpaper, velvet curtains, fresh flowers everywhere. It felt like a fairy tale she didn't belong in. She spun around as the door clicked. Zion entered, loosening his tie. The heavy air between them thickened. "So this is our life now?" she asked quietly. A lie in a golden cage. Zion didn't respond immediately. He walked to the window, staring out over the moonlit gardens. "You saved me," he said softly. "Without asking for anything. Do you know how rare that is?" She frowned. "I didn't save you to become your wife." His eyes flicked to hers, dark, unreadable. "And yet here we are." Silence again, heavy, confusing. Alia moved to speak, but Zion suddenly stepped closer, too close. Her heart thudded wildly as his intoxicating cologne surrounded her. "From now on, you'll act like my wife not only in public but in this house too," he instructed. "Eyes will watch your every move." Alia felt anger replace fear for the first time. "I may have agreed to pretend," she snapped, "but don't expect me to be your puppet." A flicker of surprise flashed in his eyes, followed by respect. He smirked lightly. "Good. I hate puppets." He turned away, before she could decode the rare softness in his voice. The next morning was worse. At breakfast, a long dining table stretched between them like an ocean. Dozens of staff served dishes Alia couldn't pronounce. Cameras flashed in the next room, reporters digging for the truth. Hania appeared again, sitting across from Alia with a mocking smile. "So, tell me, darling," she said sweetly, each word poisoned. "How did you two meet?" "Love at first sight." Alia swallowed. Panic constricted her throat. But then she felt Zion's fingers slide beneath the table, lightly brushing hers, a silent cue. Alia lifted her chin, voice steadier than she felt. "We met in the most unexpected moment of our lives. And sometimes, destiny doesn't wait for permission." Hania leaned back, smile cracking. Zion's gaze lingered on Alia, impressed. When breakfast ended, he walked her toward the garden. "You did well," he said quietly. Alia stared at him, trying to understand the man behind the walls, behind the billions. "If we're going to pretend to be married," she said, "I need to know who I'm pretending with." He stiffened, like she'd touched a wound. 1 month, he reminded her. "That's our deal, nothing more." Then he left her alone under the morning sun, while her heart whispered that nothing in this mansion was as temporary as he claimed. The pressure in the mansion rose day by day, like invisible walls closing in on Alia. Every gaze felt like a test. Every whisper felt like a dagger. She moved through halls rich with luxury yet poisoned with doubt. Someone was always watching. Staff, reporters, Hania, even hidden cameras. She could feel the weight of expectations on her shoulders, making it almost impossible to breathe. But Zion, he was the greatest mystery of all. Sometimes he was distant, cold as winter steel. Other times, he softened, offering glimpses of a man who laughed, who teased, who cared. Those rare moments were the most dangerous, because they made Alia forget this was only an act. One late evening, after another exhausting event full of corporate elites questioning her existence, Alia returned to their massive bedroom. She slipped off her heels, rubbing her aching feet, when her eyes caught something sticking out of Zion's briefcase on the table. A folder. Her name was on it. Her pulse quickened. Curiosity battled fear. Finally, she opened it. What she saw made her heart drop into her stomach. There were reports about her mother. Her debts. Her school records. Even pictures of her as a child. He knew everything about her, long before he ever woke up in that hospital bed. So, you found it. Zion's voice echoed from the doorway. Alia flinched, closing the folder with shaking hands. You investigated me, she whispered, betrayal flooding her voice. Zion stepped forward, removing his cufflinks with calm precision. I investigate everyone who comes close to me. I wasn't close to you, she shot back. Not until you forced me. He paused, the slightest flinch of guilt in his eyes. I didn't want to force you. But you saved me instinctively. Without knowing who I was. No one ever does that. Alia stepped away, anger rising. So that justifies spying on my entire life. Zion's jaw tightened. For once, he seemed unsure how to defend himself. I needed to know your intentions. My intentions. She laughed bitterly. I'm the one lying for you. I'm the one thrown into your world, risking everything. Her voice cracked. She quickly looked away, hating how vulnerable she sounded. Zion moved closer, slowly, carefully, as if approaching a frightened bird. This world isn't safe, Alia. People want my company, my wealth, my downfall. I needed someone who wanted nothing from me. She forced a shaky breath. And what do you want from me, Zion? For the first time, he didn't have an answer. Silence lingered between them, thick with unspoken truths. The next day shattered whatever fragile trust had begun to form. A firestorm of news exploded, pictures of Alia and Zion everywhere. Headlines screaming, Zion Malik's mystery wife exposed. Gold digger nurse traps billionaire. Who is Alia? Scandal behind secret marriage. Social media attacked her. Journalists camped outside the gates. Even hospital staff leaked photos. Alia's world turned vicious within minutes. She stared at the screens in horror as Hania, accidentally, strolled into the living room with the news channel blaring. Oh dear, Hania murmured with a smirk, looks like the world doesn't believe your fairytale love story. Alia's knees nearly buckled. I didn't ask for this, she whispered. Hania stepped closer, voice dripping poison. You're nothing but a crack in his empire. And soon, he'll seal it shut, without you. Alia rushed to find Zion. He stood on the balcony, eyes hard, phone pressed to his ear. I want those media outlets shut down, immediately, he ordered. When he hung up, Alia confronted him. This is all too much. I can't keep pretending. People are ruining my life. If you leave now, he warned sharply, the world will devour you. You need my protection more than ever. Alia shook her head. No, I needed honesty. And you gave me everything but that. His expression faltered. Alia, it was all a lie, she choked out. Our marriage, your promises, everything. Tears blurred her vision as she stepped back. I'm done with this deal. Zion reached for her hand, but she pulled away like his touch burned. And without waiting for another word, Alia walked out, past the guards, past the cameras, past the golden cage, leaving the billionaire. Surrounded by riches he couldn't control, and a silence he didn't know how to fix. Alia sat beside her mother in the hospital room, the faint beeping of machines filling the silence. Her world had collapsed in a matter of hours. The hate, the accusations, the humiliation, she had endured enough. She had only wanted to save her mother, never to be dragged into a billionaire's battlefield. Her mother stirred weakly, squeezing Alia's hand. You look tired. Are you okay? Alia swallowed her pain, forcing a smile. I'm okay, Ami. Everything will be fine. But as she said it, she wondered if anything in her life could ever be fine again. She stepped outside to get fresh air, and the chaos hit instantly. Cameras flashed like thunder. Microphones were shoved in her face. Did you trap the billionaire for his wealth? Are you even legally married? Where did you meet Zion Malik? Alia flinched each time a question was thrown like a stone. Before she could escape, a black luxury car screeched to a halt. The crowd turned. Guards rushed forward, and then Zion Malik stepped out. The chaos multiplied. Cameras, reporters, shouts, cheers. Zion didn't glance at a single person except her. Alia's heart sank. She wasn't ready for this, not for him. He walked straight toward her, determination blazing in his eyes. The same man who hid his emotions like secrets, now stood exposed under the world's spotlight. Alia, he breathed, stopping inches away. Please listen. She swallowed hard. Your lies destroyed everything. My life. My mother's peace. I know. His voice cracked, barely audible. And I'm here to fix the damage I caused. He turned toward the crowd. A hush fell. Every reporter waiting for their next headline. Then, with the whole world watching, Zion did something no billionaire had ever done. He admitted the truth. Alia was never a gold digger, he announced, voice strong and clear. If anyone lied, it was me. Gasps erupted. I wasn't forced into a marriage, he continued. I asked her to pretend. The accident, the fear, I thought people around me wanted to replace me, use me. And she was the only one who treated me like a human. Alia's breath caught. Zion turned to her again, and suddenly, shockingly, he got down on one knee. The world froze. In that hospital, you saved my life. Not just my body, but every piece of me I thought was dead. His eyes began to shine with tears he didn't hide. I lied because I was terrified. Terrified that if I asked you to stay as yourself, you'd say no. He held out a ring. Not the grand diamond she expected, but a simple silver band. Don't pretend anymore. Not for a month. Not for a deal. Stay because you want to. Alia's chest tightened. Tears blurred everything. She couldn't breathe, because this wasn't a cold businessman anymore. This was a broken man begging for a real chance. You deserve honesty, he whispered. The truth is, I fell in love with you. And losing you showed me that no amount of money can fill the emptiness you left behind. The crowd watched in stunned silence. Alia wiped her tears, voice trembling. You hurt me, Zion. You made me feel small. Alone. Used. I know, he whispered, voice breaking. And I will spend every day earning the right to stand beside you again. Her heart cracked open. All the nights in that mansion, the stolen glances, the warmth behind his walls, they weren't a lie. They were the truth he was too afraid to speak. With a shaky breath, Alia stepped forward. She took his hand, lifting him to his feet. Yes, she whispered, I'll stay. A roar of cheers erupted around them, but Zion only saw her. He wrapped his arms around Alia, holding her like he'd finally found home. Cameras flashed like fireworks, but nothing could dim the moment that belonged only to them. The lie that started everything became the truth that changed both of their lives forever. And this time, Alia wasn't pretending.